Hey guys, King of Charmander, and today I feature you data from the almighty YTX Pikachu. He's one of two sources that I go through my data a lot, so please follow him on Twitter if you want to know, like, luscious data or some really good statistics and stats that actually help you build teams and content. This is the page, or this is the Twitter page to where you can find it. And he's also going to start streaming soon, so yes, you watch Twitch, you should probably check him out soon. Anyways, this is the overall most used Pokemon for this crazy April Fool's Switch timer that's about to end. If you loved it, if you hated it, sadly, if you loved it, it's going to end. If you hated it, well, guess what? It's going to expire soon enough, just like you were hoping when G-Fisk came out, and it was supposed to be not meta for a while because they're supposed to nerf it, but unfortunately, G-Fisk isn't nerfed yet. As you see here, it's still pretty dang good. Anyways, what I'll be doing here is analyzing the top 5. And first of all, I'm going to do a blanket analysis. These stats weren't that surprising. As you see here, Alola Ninetales, well, bulky, spammy, tanky, Weather Ball was in the top. As you see, a lot of these Pokemon aren't too, like, there is no surprise here. Fortress is a very spicy pick, and I know some of my friends are actually using it, and so I know why, but it's kind of surprising in that, honestly, like, things like even Wigglytuff made this list, so Charmers did make an entrance. As you see here, other things like Vigoroth, and what I think was really surprising was that Pelipper wasn't so high. As you see here, Pelipper actually, it drops out of the top 10 as far as usage goes. It's not even as the most popular lead, or even, like, compared to the most popular. So it's actually, it was really surprising to see some of these statistics. Again, I'll be analyzing the top 5 and the reason why they're at, but as you see here, here's the master list. In first sight, none of these, unless it's the Fortress, as you see here, is really surprising. Fortress does really well in this meta for several reasons. It does resist a lot of things in the top meta, as you see here. It's also super effective against them. For example, Fortress actually beats the unholy hell out of Umbreon, and with Samtomb, you can actually do some damage. Fortress also double resists Venus, pretty much walls Venusaur, so it has a ton of play in this meta. So it's a very spicy thing to have on this list. The rest of them, not so spicy. And I'm guilty of that because I used a lot of non-spicy stuff. Anyways, as you see here, not really surprising. Cresselia was a little bit of surprise that it made this list because Cresselia is expensive. The only way to get Cresselia is basically you did that special research, the Sinnoh research. Or if you get one traded from a raid, and if you do get one traded from a raid, you have to double move it using an Elite TM, because it's not likely going to have Grass Knot, and Grass Knot is definitely pivotal for a Great League Cresselia. But as you see here, not really too much of a surprise. The top 10 is pretty dang basic. In fact, the top 10 is basically all the besides Alolan Ninetales and Deoxys defense, were in the top 10 previous list for the top 10 most common things that are probably likely going to get banned for the Great League Remix. I'll be doing another video on the comparison, taking this data and the previous data, and we're going to see what is likely going to be the meta for the Great League Remix. Anyways, let's get started on the top 5. Alright, so the number 5, we have Galarian Stunfisk / G-Fist / Pancake / Flip-Flop / I am so sick of seeing. Yes, I use it, so I am kind of a hypocrite. However, I used it and made it like when it first came out, I used it and broke it into PvP Ride, alright? So I have claim. I've been using it forever. Which hurts my soul. Yeah, well. Okay, confession. But anyways, as you see here, it was actually, so as you see, a 50% overall usage in the teams, and it also was a pretty popular lead. Likely you would see in 4.5% of the lead. So it was there a lot, and it's good reason to see why. Galarian Stunfisk is tanky. It has a very extremely high pressure moveset. It threatens Bastiodon. It also threatens the Charmers / Ice Ballers. And even if it doesn't threaten you, it's likely going to pressure you to take shields just because of Earthquake. It also has a lot of sack / catch potential. So Galarian Stunfisk can catch and tank a lot of moves, especially if it resists it, or even if it does neutral damage. So because of that potential to basically tank damage or run your clock, it's so versatile, it's so powerful, and Steel is just so dang good. That's why in the 5th point right here, it pairs so it pairs well with so many team compositions. It's been so powerful since its release, and it's not going to disappear anytime soon, guys, unless something changes in Pokemon Go PvP. Galarian stuff was good in the 30-second switch timer, and it's going to be looking good for Open Great League for a very, very long time. Again, not surprising, but then again, this is one of the mons you really, really want if you don't have it yet. Next time the switch timer does come back. Number 4 is Azumarill. You know, the more I say these names, the more it hurts. And the more, you know, you're hella meta, bro or girl. You've been hella meta since the preseason. The fact that you are still here is a problem. We must change you. But you're probably not gonna get changed for a while. Anyways, for Azumarill, it has a 17.10 overall usage. And it's actually one of the less used leads. It was actually one of, like, the least amount of used leads. However, its usage was so good in other positions just because it was a fantastic save switch. It has an amazing coverage. So the thing about this is that with Azu lead, Ice Beam Play Rough Hydro is still really good. It really threatens the Pancake lead, so the G-Fisk lead. You also threaten Umbreon, and you do really well against Deoxys defense if it doesn't have Thunderbolt. It can also get large, and what I mean by large, extra large. Yes, extra large Azu probably was used at one point or by multiple other battlers during this entire 36 switch timer. XL Azu is a nightmare. It is obscenely thick. As you see here, the recommended student I'm giving you is a rank 1 regular Azu. And XL Azu gets really, really thick. It has a big, big butt. And yeah, it's really tanky. But that's really against good reason. Because it's so tanky, Azu can catch and sack like no tomorrow. And it's really safe against a wide variety of the meta. Arguably, Azumarill is probably arguably the safest safe switch in this meta. Arguably. Unless you get thrown into a Venusaur, then you're probably dead. Unless you get Venusaur in the lead. Alright, for number 3, we got Umbreon. Umbreon's it's not really surprising either, but the usage was surprising when I looked at it, because 21.73, that means almost a third, that means almost a fourth of teams in the common matchups had Umbreon on their team. And as a 6.76% lead. I actually saw it a lot in the lead as well, and for good reason why. So for the thing about Umbreon, it's exceedingly bulky and tanky, but the thing is, Umbreon actually does really well in the lead because it can, even if you do resist it, like for Ninetales, etc., there's a lot of things you can do with it. It's tanky, so it can tank most neutral charge moves really well, as you see on the last point right here. And it can run the timer fast, so it has a dual purpose. Snarl and Foul Play is a great moveset on its own. However, with the fact that it only takes 4 to get the Foul Play, and unless you're running a fighter or a charmer, like Umbreon does really well against so many combinations. It can pivot away from charmers and fighters really fast too, so that's why Umbreon's such a beast. And even like I said, even if you are weak against it, because it's so tanky, like, this Umbreon is one of the best mods, in my opinion, for this switch timer. That's because it's so obscenely tanky, it runs fast, it's what you want. This is a very... if they ever made this permanent, Umbreon would probably be one of the top mods used in almost every team. Or something similar of it. Of course, your recommended moveset is Snarl, Foul Play, and Last Resort, unless it gets an overpowered move or something like that, which it doesn't really need. Please do not buff Umbreon. It is super meta. It's super adorable. Don't get me wrong. You got an evolution, bro. You have 6 other cousins, brothers, sisters, whichever one you want to call it. They could be boys and girls, by the way. Unless it's Sylveon. Wait, can Sylveon be a dude? Anyways, I don't know. But anyways, Umbreon is good, okay? And it's not a surprise that it is one of the most used mons in this meta. Alright, so this one kind of surprised me a little bit. Well, not really. It's just really dang good. I mean, as someone that's used Deoxys defense to literally create the most powerful team on PvPoke, used it to rival the top meta team in Season 2, it's really freaking good. But I can see why it was overly used. Not only was it really popularized, or not really popularized, but it was like really pushed together with a lot of content creator teams. It's just really that good. It's bulky. It's powerful. It's bulky. Anyways, it is actually, the usage is what really blows my mind, because not a lot of people have a Deoxys defense. Deoxys defense is a mythical Pokemon. It cannot be traded. It cannot be obtained from the wild. You have to raid for it as of right now. As you see here, it was actually used at 9.91% of leads, meaning you saw this in a lead a lot. 1 out of 10 teams likely had a Deoxys defense in the lead, which was really nuts. As you see here, Counter is OP. Counter overall with damage plus energy is the most powerful move in the game as a 2-turn move. Sheer damage belongs to Dragon Breath, but as if you could put second to Dragon Breath, the overall generalist move of overall, like, it counters good, okay? Give it Psycho Boost. Psycho Boost does big damage with a 30-second timer. With the Psycho Boost is 35 energy, counter 7 energy. You can counter 5. It only takes 10 turns to get one Psycho Boost, and Psycho Boost does huge damage. The 30-second timer, you can chip and dip all you want. Along with Rock Slide and Thunderbolt, they have great coverage across the meta. Deoxys defense is really freaking good, and for some reason, it still hasn't come back for years in raids. For years. No, literally, I'm not joking. The last time it's back, I don't remember. I can't even remember the last time Deoxys defense was on raids. But you know what priority is now? Megas, even if they're useless, really adoring, really clickbait shinies like Rayquaza, or the things that get the money the most. Or like, you know, Mewtwo, just the really cool mons, as long as it makes money. Deoxys defense, the reason why it hasn't come back is actually very, very simple. It doesn't make Niantic money. If it just caters to the PvPers, it doesn't make the money. They would rather, basically what I'm trying to tell you is that the PvP community is a very small part of the player base. Some people want DD, but most of the people don't. Niantic would factually not make as much money if Rayquaza came out versus DD, which is why Rayquaza came back and not DD. But you get money talks. Anyways, the recommended moveset for mines is Rock Slide. I like Rock Slide a lot because you just have that coverage, but you can also use Thunderbolt. In other words, there's no real wrong reason. But like I said, with Rock Slide, you do get, takes less energy to get to, and you can spam more moves. But Psycho Boost is just so powerful with Pivot. And again, it hasn't came back in a while, so it really speaks on how, despite a lot of people use DD, man, it's really good. But the problem is, not a lot of people have one. And the most powerful, the most used, the MVP, most valuable Pokemon in the 30-second switch timer was Alolan Ninetales / A9. With a whooping 26.35 overall usage. It means in one of 4 teams, you probably saw an Alolan Ninetales. With a 6.31% lead usage. So it wasn't the most used lead, DD was. However, this team was part of PvPoke's really popular team of DD, Sableye, and A9, and all 3 of those Pokemon I just mentioned are really good in general. The option of using Powder Snow and Charm is also a plus. Powder Snow was buffed, and it generates energy very, very quickly, and it also has access to Charm. Charm Tails is obscenely powerful, and arguably the most powerful Charmer in the game, just because it has Weather Ball. It gets to Weather Ball has the lowest amount of energy usage. It does heavy damage because it does, actually it has the second highest base damage per energy besides, I would say, Leaf Blade and Psycho Boost. It's really freaking good, okay? Dazzling Gleam does heavy damage and does a lot to pressure opponent shields. And I think they're really interesting after I analyze it. It actually threatens the safe switch meta really hard. Alolan Ninetales does a good amount of damage. It's Deoxys defense. It takes out Umbreon. It takes out Sableye. If you have Charm Tails, you threaten a Azumarill. And even if you don't, if you hit Dazzling Gleam on an Azu, it hurts a lot. So Alolan Ninetales is just really, really strong. Of course, its biggest weakness is probably G-Fisk. However, despite that, again, because of Alolan Ninetales, just coverage, its usage, and the fact that it does so well against the majority of the meta, it's not a surprise why it was used in like a fourth of all teams. It was just really that good. And that just shows you why giving Weather Ball was probably a horrible idea to give it to so many Pokemon. Roselia got Weather Ball. Alolan Ninetales got Weather Ball. Pelipper got Weather Ball. You know what else got Weather Ball? Every single cast form. Well, technically, it's belonged to them, so, well, Castform has Weather Ball. Let's see, what else has Weather Ball? Oh, yeah, Politoed got Weather Ball. Horrible idea, by the way, because it is the fastest Pokemon in the game as far as charge would go. It's only tied with Galarian Rapidash. So, it really breaks the meta. And Weather Ball was really good in this meta because it runs a switch clock. A9 especially good because of the fact that, like I mentioned, you can use it for Charm Shells, etc. But it just has such great coverage, and its ability to basically resist. You force Umbreon to use Last Resort on you, and you also force Sableye to return you to death. Otherwise, you take him down. So, it's very powerful. Fun fact, you can also beat G-Fisk in a 2-shield. If your Alolan Ninetales has a high enough attack break point, you can actually beat G-Fisk in the 2-shield. That's how good Alolan Weather Ball. Alolan Ninetales is with Weather Ball. Or even with Charm. With Charm, you delete a lot of meta. Like I said, it probably is one of the best Charmers in the game. Its recommended moveset is Dazzling Gleam. You can use Psyshock, but however, Dazzling Gleam with Ninetales, or even if you use the Charm one, it's just so dang good, and it's just so powerful. It's not a surprise why it was so strong in this 30-second switch timer meta. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this analysis. The 30-second... I can see the pros and cons of the switch timer, and I'll make another video on it, but honestly, it was 50-50. Some people liked it, some people hated it. Just because with the game... my general description of with the game this broken right now, and then with the switch timer coming out, I had a lot of problems, and so did a lot of other people on social media, and just from streaming in general, so... when it clearly shows that you should never do anything like this ever again unless you prove just fix your game. That's basically it. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be fixed anytime soon. And as you see here, buried entry mons like Deoxys Defense are really good in this meta. It just really shows you how there really needs to be a switch for PvP. Otherwise, this is just going to be the same thing over and over again just because the meta is so oppressive. And this meta wasn't, everything you saw here was basically super meta. As you see here, even you know what's, blind, mind-numbing to me? Like, if you look at this entire list, all these Pokemon are meta. Like, they're all meta at one point. Because Melmetal isn't really meta now, however, in Season 1 and Season 2, it was still pretty dang popular. So, the fact that all of these are meta. Well, Talonflame isn't that super meta, but I would say, I would say the exceptions nowadays are probably Melmetal and Talonflame, but the rest of them, you've seen them once before. Actually, all of these you've seen at one time before. Even if I can't give flack for Talonflame because Talonflame was actually part of the top 5 most powerful teams overall on PvPoke.com from what I remember on my last analysis. But anyways, that's just what it is. This was the Weather Ball meta. Or the tanky meta, and yeah, or the meta. You know what? There's only so many things you can put behind meta. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this. I hope you guys climbed, and I hope you guys had a great time. If you guys didn't, and you lagged a lot like I did, well, you're not alone, so don't worry about it. It's a long season, right? With a broken game, yay! Please like, subscribe if you like this analysis. I'll be doing more in the future. Once I get more information on the Great League Remix, I'll finally put it out there, but so far there's no news. And then the newest top teams, etc. Good luck and go Baskets, and I will see you guys on the next video.